Hello Kickstarters, I'm Jay Obernolte, President and founder of Farsight Studios, and we're here in our offices in beautiful Big Bear Lake, California. For the last 10 years, Farsight Studios has been doing video game recreations of classic pinball tables like this one. We have licenses from the manufacturers of real pinball tables back in the heyday of pinball, companies like Midway, Bally, Stern, and Gottlieb, to create video game versions of their real pinball table designs. Our first video game was for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was Nintendo's first game machine here in North America. And since then, we've done video games for just about every platform you can imagine. Currently, we develop for the Sony PlayStation 4, the Microsoft Xbox One, the Nintendo Wii and Wii U, the Nintendo 3DS. We also develop for PC platforms like Windows and Macintosh. And about half of our users right now are on mobile platforms like iPhone, iPads, and Android phones and tablets. Our current product is called the Pinball Arcade. Our goal is to create a virtual museum of pinball where people can really appreciate what it was like to play these tables in real life. The process of digitizing a pinball table is very complicated. We start by acquiring a real-world example of each pinball table. We then completely disassemble the table. We take all of the components off the table, all the way down to the bare wood playfield. Then, we take digital photography and reference for each component of the table, and then we model each component in 3 dimensions using our modeling software and our tools. Then, we use ROM emulation technology to emulate the software in the pinball table. We've developed this technology specifically for our pinball table games. This technology uses the fact that the processor in a platform like an iPhone is many times more powerful than the processor that was used in the original pinball table. We use this speed differential to emulate on a cycle-by-cycle basis all of the instructions that made this table function. What that means is that when you play this table in the Pinball Arcade, you're playing an exact recreation of the actual pinball table. At this point, we have more experience developing video game versions of pinball tables than any other company in the world. We have digitized over 60 of these classic pinball tables, and our goal is that one day there will be one place where all of our users can go to enjoy and remember what it was like to play real pinball. Unfortunately, these pinball tables are disappearing. My children don't have the opportunity to go to a bowling alley or an arcade and play these tables and experience what pinball meant to me and my generation. We're hoping to change that with the Pinball Arcade. We'd like to preserve these tables in a digital form for our children and future generations to enjoy. Which brings me to this pinball table, Doctor Who. Here at Farsight Studios, we have always been huge fans of the Doctor Who franchise, as you can tell from my Tom Baker scarf. Since the early days of Pinball Arcade, we've dreamed of bringing this table to the Pinball Arcade platform. This Doctor Who pinball table features a very tight integration between the Doctor Who license and the playfield rules. Every ball that you launch, you choose which Doctor that you want to play, and that choice influences all of the table rules while you're playing that ball. The playfield also features many of the different elements from the Doctor Who universe. For example, the TARDIS, the Time Expander, and my personal favorite, the Dalek on the top of the back glass that says "Exterminate" periodically during gameplay. But we're having a problem, and as usual, that problem involves licensing. This table would require not only a license from Bally, which we have, but also a license from the British Broadcasting Corporation, which owns the Doctor Who property, and also likeness licenses for all of the different versions of the Doctor that are on the back glass and the playfield. If you add the cost of all of those licenses together, unfortunately it is just not commercially viable for us to develop this pinball table. But here's where you come in. If we can raise enough money through this Kickstarter campaign to pay the cost of those licenses, we can digitize Doctor Who pinball and add it to our Pinball Arcade collection for you and future generations to enjoy. Please join me and all of us here at Farsight Studios in making Doctor Who pinball a reality.